Let's go now for the good news segment. Let's put a smile on that face of yours, shall we?
Good news. Good news. Good news. Good news.
Okay, so let's start with the African Development Bank. Now, they grant $1.18 million to Mozambique agro industry. Now, that's big. Now, the African Development Bank, AFDB, has granted 990,000 euros. That's $1.18 million for Mozambique agro processing firms. Now, the fund came from, okay, yeah, it's more of like has an external support. But then it says we are pleased to receive this grant from the African Development Bank and the Technical Cooperation Fund from Italy, now which will benefit about 300 agro-processing and agribusiness, small and medium-sized enterprises, associations in Mozambique, particularly youth and women-led SMEs operating along the development corridors of Nakala, Biera, Pemba, Lechinga, said Dr. Agostinho Vuma, president of the Confederation of Business Associations of Mozambique, at the ceremony to hand over the grant funding. This is huge, and I like that so much. Now, the grant is to further step up the intense bilateral relations in the agriculture area built through the many projects financed by the Italian corporation, and that it can act as a catalyst to extend it to the private sector where it exists a huge and largely untapped potential, underlined the Italian ambassador, Dr. Gianni Bardini. Now, the agriculture project is aligned with the interest of Mozambique's country strategy paper 2018 to 2022, which mentioned infrastructure investment, agricultural transformation, and value chain development as the building pillars for strategic growth. That is really, really great. And I like the fact that, and as much as it's not that of a long-term, strategy towards nation building, at least it's something from 2018 to 2022. So let's say one more year to go to see to the realization of the plan they have put in place. But kudos to their partners as well. And what matters is to see people empowered, generally, especially the women in our agricultural industry, and of course other SMEs as well. Okay, so let's get on to our next good news, and that is Flourish Africa announces 1 billion Nigerian naira fund to promote female entrepreneurs. So 1 billion Nigerian naira. So we're looking at some $2.4 million. Plenty money, I'm telling you. Now, Nigerian businesswoman, philanthropist, and founder of Flourish Africa, Folorunso Alakija, has announced the launch of a 1 billion naira fund to promote female-owned businesses in Africa. Woo! Woo! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, this big. This is big because, especially in these times, what times are we talking about? COVID-19, and how it's actually making things so extremely difficult. Economies are actually crippling. Others are actually trying to get back on their feet. And we all know how the SMEs is more of like 70, 80, 90% of the businesses. Talking about the informal sector. It's huge. Okay. So Flourish Africa is a female empowerment platform designed to help women achieve their full potential. Now, it is a place for both female millennials and adults to access information of the right networks that would enable them grow in their chosen careers and businesses while prioritizing health and wellness. Now, according to the statement announcing the fund, Mrs. Alakija disclosed that the initiative will focus on supporting the entrepreneurial activities of at least 2,500 female-owned businesses through funding and structured training over a period of 5 years. I mean, in a statement, in her announcement, she said, I am happy to launch the Flourish Africa 1 billion naira fund on my 70th birthday as a gift to hardworking and enterprising women. Now, this initiative will focus on empowering women economically and socially for the benefits of their immediate families and the society. Wow. Heart-touching, heartwarming message. You know, this is not an investment, or this is not a profits, minded thing. It's just to help people. That's what I'm talking about. Humanity, supporting your own and everything, empowering them. Because at the end of the day, you don't empower them, the repercussions is coming back to your society. Because if you don't get their children, becoming misfits in societies and all of that, deviant behaviors putting up by these ones, you'd realize that when these things are minimized to its minimum level, I mean, the society becomes a better place. We can never be equal, but at the end of the day, at least we get satisfied with the level that we are. Great one. And of course, kudos to Flourish Africa as well as the African Development Bank for putting this great initiative. That's all we have for the good news segment.